I was asked to look at this video, really, really good video. Guy's a little off. That's what I'll talk about. Chris Tonks. It's worth the video to look at because he's bang on to a lot of what's going on. Now, the guy's saying that he's psychic, and all of us have the potential that this guy is going to talk about. We all have the potential to do what these elites or the negative forces on the planet want to do. So being psychic is not a hard thing to do at all, but you just have to understand how to get there, how to use it. And I'm not saying that I am, but I can definitely see patterns. And when you see a pattern, you can predict an outcome. If you take a bite out of an apple, you can pretty much predict somebody's going to be swallowing an apple. It's just not that hard when you can see patterns. But basically, this guy is psychic, claiming to be psychic. And what happens is when you're psychic is you access this information field that's out there. Anybody can access it. You do it all the time. But in order to receive that information, you're using your intuition to try and distinguish what's coming in, what are you receiving in your head. Now, if you are negative in any way, shape, or form, you're going to misjudge, miscalculate the information you're receiving. You have to be in the perfect state of love. No negative, no, you can't even comprehend what a negative word is. So even, me, to do what I do means I'm recognizing and talking about negative shit. For example, talking about this guy's video. It is slanted towards a negative comment, but at the same time saying that he's pretty bang on, just as he's not in that loving state. And you have to sort of know what that loving state is to be able to judge whether somebody's there or not. A loving state recognizes their connection, that if they were doing something right, everybody else would be doing something right. Whatever they're doing, if it causes negative emotions for anybody to feel, then there's something negative about the words you're saying or the words you're using, yada, yada, yada. So basically we can conclude that nobody on this planet has that loving state of being yet. So anybody that's on this planet that says, I got it all, I wouldn't believe them. That's the time I would sort of turn the channel. Now, one way to combat that is if all of us used our intuition, all of us developed our psychic powers, all of us use the process of getting into that loving state to be able to access this information field and get good answers. Until the whole planet is in that loving state, because we all influence each other at all times, then it's best to just have an open conversation and admit you're wrong sometimes. So, not to say that I'm right, but there are some contradictions that I see with this video. He's talking about grays and blues and aliens and other life forms, and it's like none of that makes any sense. Tons of other videos that I talk about regarding why there's just no such thing as an alien. Everything that is in your reality is made up in your own friggin' head, so it's like, why would you want to even believe there's aliens out there? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Now, is there other things that we can't see? Yes. So, we can't see those. But more than enough evidence proves that there's seen and unseen. So I believe that if we, instead of look at grays and aliens, and look at it as just good and evil, there's just two sides of the fence. And like this guy's saying that there's spaceships above our planet that can't get in. It's like, that's full of crap. You know, like if there was any higher beings, they're smarter than us. They have better technology than us if they were the ones that are giving it to us. I mean, plus they wouldn't have an enemy. But they always seem to be battling something just the same as we are. They've got too much of the same patterns as we are, as what we have, humans have, but yet they're off planet and we're on planet. What's the difference? You know, like, makes no difference to me. So give this guy a listen to, but just take out the alien stuff and see that we're being influenced by positive and negative. These reptiles, reptilians, you know, that doesn't make any sense either. They're just humans, lost humans. A lot of crap started with Hitler, but that's mostly of what we know. History books are written by people that are the corporate world that want you to remember history the way they want to tell it. Same with religion. They want you to remember history the way they want you to remember it. And it's all designed to keep things secret from you, so you don't know what our past really, really, truly is. It will be interpreted by some guy that went to a school that was trained to look at it the way somebody else wants you to look at it. It's so hard to escape this game. But anyways, there was a lot of experiments that were done with Hitler. A lot of money involved in it, so yeah, the corporate world picked up on it. And yeah, they've been doing an awful lot of eugenics, trying to create the perfect human being. They have definitely tortured people to try and get the human full potential out, because mostly what they've kind of noticed is that if you torture somebody, what makes them survive? And that's basically what they're trying to explore, is what makes a human survive torture? What makes a human survive the absolute worst that life can offer you? And some of them are multiple personalities, which science has now discovered that is a form of time traveling, that your body is being taken over by another entity. Your whole physiology can change. Your eye color can change. You can have scars on your body where you didn't when you're being taken over by another entity. But they're always from the past. And nobody's really looking at it as, how do I go forward? How do I take over somebody's body? They aren't really saying too much about that. It's always past. You'll always channel somebody from the past. You never channel anybody from the future. Wonder why that is. But anyways, that's what governments do. They get people to volunteer to be as tortured as possible so that we can unfold our full potential. And because they're volunteering, they'll never get it. They'll never ever get it, because basically the direction they're doing is, if we destroy human life, then that will bring out our fullest potential, because our survival skills will unfold. And while that is true, they're neglecting to see that you have a higher full potential if there was love thrown at you. You can have any chemical, you can have any high voltage. The human body can survive just about everything that you can throw at it, if there was love involved. And it's sort of like, well, why would I want to live and survive this torture if you just want to torture me? The will to live sort of goes when you are trying to unleash this human full potential. Why would you want to live in a world where they torture you? Where to get your full potential means you have to live through hell. Nobody wants that. That's where you lose your will to live, and then you'll never ever be able to see some of the experiments that, how much electricity can the body take? How much torture can the body take? The body can take an awful lot more, but not if it's done intentionally. If you're intentionally doing harm, you will never, ever, ever unfold the full potential of humanity. And these elites, it's kind of crazy to me to see what they want to do to all of humanity, because they're ultimately destroying themselves and they can't see that yet. Where if they were encouraging and loving and supportive, then they would end up seeing more full potential of human beings. It's a really, really wild trip, but it's information that has been suppressed because they think that, well, if we give you too much loving information, then we lose control. And these are people that have no control over self. The only way they can experience control is by controlling a planet. And their intention is to try and bring out the full potential of all humans. So, they got good intentions, but good intentions can kill. Good intentions are only good when you direct it at self. What's your intention for yourself? Do you want to torture yourself that much to bring out your full potential? And if so, why not do it to yourself? And then maybe take a look at why would you want to torture yourself. Don't do unto others what you don't want to do to yourself. So it's quite an interesting video. Look at it from that perspective, that the guy doesn't have all answers. He needs to communicate with a lot more people so that you can get rid of the contradictions, get rid of the concept of aliens and reptiles. That'll take you down the wrong path all the time, all the time. Look at it as there are frequencies, and it's a positive, loving frequency and hate frequency. And hate has been dominating our universe, and we're in the process of transforming that into love. And unfortunately, it does seem like we've got to go through hell before we end up finding out what's really important. And so ultimately, they may know what they're doing and may not. I think that there's an easier way of teaching humanity to bring out its full potential, but as history has proved, which is probably just the design of the game, is that you will only save yourself when you're just about off that cliff. And then you'll do something, and not a second before. So maybe they do know what they're doing, maybe they don't, but it's an interesting game. Look at the video. Let me know what you think. Peace out.